Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the IronSquid and this ZvZ series between Team Ace's Nerchio in the red trunks to the east of Antigua versus his opponent FXO Leenock in the blue trunks to the west.
And I'm sure that this is going to be a very fast and rapid game here. ZvZ always is. Relying on a bit of tug-of-war between drone building, and we'll see how things just go on, because a lot of the time, if you see your opponent takes a bit of an advantage with drones, you usually build units to take that away from him, and then vice versa that happens, then you're building drones as you're taking away his advantage, and then it kind of switches, and that's where the kind of tug-of-war within drone building always happens. But at the end of the day, you usually end up with roughly the same at the end, unless, of course, somebody goes and steals the win. But it does look like we're already seeing a bit of aggression out here by Leenock, getting ready for his 10 pool.
Ooh, yes, delicious 10 pool from Leenock. Now, ZvZ is actually at least it was. It's been a while since I've actually had the pleasure to cast Nerchio, but it was one of his specialty matches. He was so incredibly good at it that the legend goes he forced Morrow to quit ZvZ forever.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he's very good at mind games, so he always chooses what to do best in every single game, and it gets frustrating a lot of the time. But this time he's gone for a spawning pool pretty early, actually. So again, he's got an advantage over Leenock from what it seems here, because by the time by the time his lings actually get over there, there's a relatively early spawning pool down and a safe spawning pool here by Nerchio. So things already look pretty good here for Nerchio.
Yeah, Leenock's build is interesting because he actually went with double extractor trick there, but didn't end up using it. That was the curious thing. He didn't make use of that advantage at all and then just built an Overlord. So he's got now Queen and 6 Zerglings on the way to send in that direction. They will most likely be picked up by Nerchio from across the map, and there's no way those Lings are going to get there in time before defensive Lings come up as well.
Yeah, this is why Nerchio's been, scared people away, because now, if you see this, he's going to have speed as well, and he's going to have the same amount of Lings by the time that the Lings arrive for Leenock. So Nerchio's got a significant advantage here, and we do see the gas going down for Leenock, but there's a big window difference here by the time that the gas actually and the speed starts for Nerchio here, compared to when it's going to start for Leenock. So this is really, really good so far for Nerchio, that really can't drop the ball here. He just needs to defend against this, could potentially expand behind it, but do so much damage once his own speed completes. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, the speed starts pretty much as the extractor goes down for Leenock. That's not the kind of place you want to be, is it? It's not a good start, and Leenock is just out of there immediately, realizing, nope, this is not going to happen. Maybe if it was hatch first, maybe I could have done damage here, but in the case of Nerchio, no. That's not happening. Nerchio opened up nice and safe, got an edge in the process, and we're now going to see where he can take it.
And he does expand behind this. Doesn't mean that he's going to stick to expanding. He could very easily ramp up the pressure around 70% of when speed completes. So he may build another set of drones here, but after that, build a bunch of Lings. But we'll see. I mean, right now, Leenock's in a very terrible place. He's going to have to do something, whether it be throwing down a Baneling Nest now at 50 gas once he goes up there, and I think he has to, because he's so far behind, and he has to do damage.
Yep, there's the Baneling Nest done. Nerchio has just forced the double Queen block there, so no Lava Injects coming in at the moment. And, of course, creep spread not really happening a huge amount either, not that that's really all that important. The Roach Warren is on the way in here, so he might just go straight through the Roaches and actually bust his way through here.
Yeah, the thing is, though, that he sees double Queens on the natural, so he's like, alright, well, you're blocking, you're doing something, you haven't expanded. The two things you can do on one base is A, a Baneling all-in, a Ling all-in, or potentially a Roach play. So the best thing against that is Roaches. So Nerchio, the perfect response here. Roach Warren down, saving up lava, saving up gas. Roaches will come out immediately, and he's going to be well equipped to deal with what's coming now with speed. And 3 Banelings being morphed actually on the third base up there of Nerchio. Now we do see our little dear Nerchio having to build a bunch of units here.
Yep, there's a lot of Lings on the way over. 23 versus 7, and a bunch of Roaches coming out as well. But these Banelings could be the chosen Banelings. They may be able to do some damage, but actually no. Nerchio's already Queen blocked, so it doesn't matter. The Banelings are going to do precisely nothing. 2 have already been killed. There's that one Baneling there that's just going to sit there and say, well, I couldn't care less. it's not going to have a very long life, I don't think. And there's a Ling run by Leenock, tries to get through. Baneling detonator does pretty much nothing. And the cleanup coming in. A lot of drones pulled off the line, but a fantastic surround there by Nerchio. And there's the GG in the cleanup, and what a great start there.
Yeah, what a really, really good start here for Nerchio, who, you know, to a certain extent had rock, paper, scissors, and he chose rock, and unfortunately, Leenock chose scissors there. So, I mean, just because there's a big 2-drone advantage, and at this stage of the game, that is big. At that, 4-minute mark or whatever, 2 drones is really, really big here. And then, of course, having the speed advantage and then the expansion, everything went in favor of Nerchio there, who picks up a very surprising 1-0 lead there against Leenock.
Well, I don't know if it's that surprising. I mean, he is just that good at ZvZ. And, what I'm interested in seeing in this particular group has got to be Nestea, the god of Zerg versus Zerg, with his absurd 80+% Korean win rate, versus Nerchio, who is, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know of a better foreigner when it comes to ZvZ. Some may argue Idra, but in Nerchio versus Idra, it's always gone in favor of Nerchio.
Yeah. And this is what he needs, especially because how tough his group actually is. Picking up a win here, of course, is an amazing start for Nerchio, an amazing start for foreigners also. Yeah,
it would be. It would be surprising, I think, for a lot of people to see Nerchio go through as the sole foreign hope. Perhaps that's not what they were expecting to happen at all, but I don't know, man. I've been watching Nerchio for a long time, and he is always such a great performer, and one day he is going to have this huge breakout.
Yeah. He will, and we'll have to wait until that is. Actually, this tournament very well could be that.
It might be. It very well might be. Well, we'll find out. Can he take 2-0 against Leenock? That would be a flying start in his group. Let's find out right after this break. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this series, and I bring you Team Ace's Nerchio in the red trunks, playing Zerg to the southwest of Daybreak versus his opponent, currently trailing 1 game in this best-of-3 series. It's FXO's Leenock. He is in the blue trunks, and he is playing Zerg to the northeast.
And I wonder, if the stars align again, and Nerchio can get a nice little advantage to push him into the mid-stages, because this could be the biggest upset of the entire tournament, in my opinion, that is. I mean, Nerchio's very, very strong. He is, as you said, one of the strongest Zerg vs. Zergs, but at the same time, this is an MLG and GSL champion right here, and we'll see. It looks like already that we're... Oh, no, I was going to say, oh my god, we're going to have a temple again, but that was just me, and the Overlord being a little bit later there.
Yeah, he is putting down the Overlord right now and will most likely extract a trick. And he actually could extract a trick. I'm kind of surprised that he's not doing that, but...
No, he is going for the temple again.
Yeah.
I think so. Oh no, never mind. He's not. He's just going for the drones. I'm like, oh my god. And I always get confused in Zerg vs. Zergs as well. Unless I'm looking at it and not talking about something else. The 9 drone, and the 9 Overlord, sorry, versus the 10 Overlord. I'm like looking at the production tab in top left. I'm like, wait a minute, why is that not aligned correctly?
Yeah.
Especially with Korean versus foreigner, because Koreans always go 10 Overlord and foreigners always go 9.
Yeah, and, well, that's not the case. But there we go. We've got the pull down here for the one and only Nerchio. The question is, are we seeing Hatch? Yeah, we're actually seeing Hatch first here from Leenock.
Yeah, this is pretty good for Leenock this time around.
Yep.
And this really does mean now that Nerchio will again. He's gone for exactly the same build, so he's just rolled again with what he did last time. And whatever at the same time, he's going to scout now with his drone, which we're not seeing Leenock do. But now he can kind of confirm, how did my roll of that dice early work out for me? Now he sees the hatchery and he's like, alright, so I'm not going to get a really big advantage because my opponent went for 2 drones earlier spawning pool.
Yeah.
But this time I have to do damage because he's gone for a hatchery. He's obviously going to explode in terms of production, and now I have to slow that down with the early speed advantage that I'm going to get from this.
Yeah, and more to the point, can he? Because Leenock is no pushover either. His defense will no doubt be absolutely solid. And if he doesn't do the damage, then he falls behind. And I think that this is probably the matchup where that becomes most obvious. Out of all of the mirrors, the fact that if you don't do damage and your opponent had this build order advantage on you, then you end up in a horrible position.
And we are going to see speed, of course, go down. I'm wondering if he's going to take out a gas. He's still mining with 2 here, which, of course, could be a sign of aggression that a Bailey Nest could follow this. And at the same time, we do have, with Leenock's build, is that he went Extractor then Spawn Impulse, so he's able to get speed at a relatively decent time too. There's only about a 25-second difference, well, it's a little bit more as he's opting to build Lings, of course, because Lings are entering his base.
Yeah.
But there's about a 30-second difference, which isn't that big of a window there for Leenock.
Yeah, unfortunately attacking the gas mining drone, which is never a good idea because, of course, it can go and hide in the extractor, and that's been nicely shut down there. It was just a little bit of harassment and pressure there, but it's nice that Leenock was able to deal with it so adequately.
And a lot of drones in production now, but the thing is, though, that even though the drones are kind of equal, a little bit in favor of Nerchio, is that very shortly with the extra hatchery faster, no, the hatchery faster and the lava jet faster also, is that he will be able to just scoot through the next stage of this game. But we do see the bailiness coming down, so that's what that extra gas was for here. And Lings are in production now, so he's going to try to do damage, but we do have already a double queen block and also a first spine crawler come down, so this should be pretty tight and kind of unbreakable.
It was very, very difficult. I mean, Banelings are not going to be able to do anything against those queens whatsoever. But it would come down, I think, to the fact that it's going to end up being Baneling on Baneling for quite some time. Leenock built his nest at around the same time, and it depends if Leenock decides to turn the pressure on. I think that's kind of the situation that's got to happen here. Leenock's got to attack, and then Nerchio's got to get a significant advantage, win that engagement, and then go for the counter surge.
And there's overlords all over the place, and Daybreak is very large, so Leenock sees this coming a mile away and is already, getting ready. He's building Lings, he's morphing his own Banelings here, and to be honest, with the amount of units he's already got, he can start building drones, which he actually is in the background now as well. So he's actually well prepared to defend this and even go through to the next stage.
Is to watch out for those Banelings and some reasonable splashes, nothing particularly amazing. A couple of Lings taken out each time, so not a great trade, but more to the point, he holds that without a problem and is able to throw his opponent back and is gaining that advantage now in terms of having his hatchery down earlier.
The drone count currently 28 for Nerchio, 25, and they're both building drones at the same time here. Spinecrawler is coming down for Nerchio too, so kind of balance between both of these guys. Link's coming in for Leenock, but isn't going to be able to achieve anything here, so both of these still building drones, of course. A second extractor is the biggest difference so far here for Leenock, who, with a second extractor, can obviously tech more. Oh.
Delicious Banelings. Look at the number then. Wow, actually, Nerchio's going to go for it and try and shut those down. He gets a good trade. 6 for 3 there. That's a good deal. And Leenock goes in, takes down 4 Lings in the process. There's another splash. That last Baneling is heading towards the drone line, but doesn't kill anything.
Yeah, pretty nice drone micro there too by Nerchio. Pulls a lot of the red ones back and cleans that up relatively easily there.
Yeah, that was nice, actually, by Nerchio, but it at least for a little while, it gives Nerchio, Leenock an advantage in terms of his drone count. Number of drones killed was pretty terrible, actually. It was only 3. The trade for the Banelings was brilliant. They had this big morph, but he morphed directly in front of Nerchio's Overlord, so he had no problems in just saying, right, okay, I'm going to throw 3 Banelings to break the cocoons. 3 for 6 trade is totally fine by me.
But he did lose the queen, though, which is kind of sucky, because that means he's obviously slowed down. We do have the lair really, really fast down here for Leenock, who looks like he's going for a Spire play. And that's something that is also very different compared to the different clashes of scenes, is that the Koreans still prefer Spire and the foreigners don't. They actually prefer to defend against it rather than use it. So we'll see that come out to play here. We do have the +1 melee attack coming down anyway for the Zerglings here, which is of course going to help the Banelings if we do see Leenock decide to go Spire and Banelings, which the Spire is now down, and I'm sure that he'll want to research the Baneling speed later on, but it's good to start that melee upgrade now. On the other hand, the third base is down here for Nerchio, so there's the clash of 2 different styles. So we're going to see Mutalisk versus none, and we're going to see a lot more, it'll be Spore Crawlers, it'll be Queens, probably straight into Infestors, and defend against the incoming danger.
Yeah, and I have
but the Spire comes down, actually.
Well, there we go. Spire versus Spire. Unfortunately for Nerchio, his opponent does have a bit of a lead in terms of when that was built. It's about 30 seconds. It's not going to come into play that much, though. It depends how much gas Nerchio is able to save up here, because we're going to see... Well, it's going to be at least 7 Muters here from Leenock, probably more than that, maybe even a morph of 9. And by the time they get over to his opponent, there may be Muters of his own to actually deal with that. In the meantime, a very small little push here from Leenock, trading 4 Lings there for that Baneling, just wants to eliminate it and tries to pick off another one, but Leenock actually defends the Baneling. Oh, nicely done there by Leenock. A bit of an overcommitment, but probably less of a bad thing than having that Baneling reach the mineral line. And right now he's trying to deny this third base. There are Banelings now moving in to clean it up. A couple of good splashes there. A couple of Banelings also moving in from Leenock and looking to try and get its little mitts on the drones. Isn't able to do so just yet. The Spinecrawler picks it off.
And this is actually looking really, really good for Nerchio here. I mean, even though the Lings are on the third base here, doing damage to drones, there's actually no units here at all. One Baneling running down. But the thing is that this third base is so much faster, of course, that there's not even a third base down at all here. And that means the gas income's going to be a lot higher for Nerchio compared to Leenock. But Leenock does have the presence on the map already.
Yeah, he's got 11 Mutalisks on the way, but the thing is, Nerchio's also building 13 Mutalisks, so there'll be a little bit of damage done here, certainly. These drones are probably going to go down. I bet he wishes he had Burrow right now, but the Mutalisk count is going to end up being higher for Nerchio, and he's going to be able to throw this back as long as he doesn't engage badly. Brings the Queens in as well for fire support, and good arc of fire there from Nerchio to try and drive this away.
And the hatchery has now gone down for Leenock in the background, but he knows he's slow. He knows that he's behind, so he is trying to do damage here, but he's taking a little bit too much damage on his Mutalisk there.
So nice transfuse, man. That was really, really good by Nerchio, and he is able to throw that pack back, and it's now 8 Mutalisks versus 5 with 6 gas income, at least once he starts mining again, versus 4 gas for quite some time. The 4th base has gone down to the bottom here. It's nowhere near finished yet.
Yeah, this is looking very, very good here for Nerchio, and he's going to continue to put the pressure on now as he has the higher Mutalisk count. He's going to be able to push back the ones of Leenock, and Leenock cannot afford to lose any whatsoever there. And now we do see Nerchio taking control of the air, actually killing the Overlord next to the one that was under attack. But now the third base location is under attack, but no, Nerchio, it's down in the bottom right.
Will he be able to figure that out? Most likely, I would think so. And he's going to have just free reign picking off these Overlords, no problem whatsoever. Has a significant supply advantage at this stage. Is mining from the gas here. He's not completely in all of the gas yet. He needs to get a few more drones out here, but he still has a drone advantage versus Leenock. And now in comes the Muta count, and there's nowhere near enough Mutas to actually stop Nerchio's Mutalisk pack.
And there is a Ling run by towards the third base of Nerchio here. Lings pop out just at the right time with Queen back up. Just punishes it back. But now the third base of Leenock is under pressure and there's no units here. Mutalisk can't do anything. Leenock is stuck on 2 bases. And this is going down, as you said. And Nerchio is getting the +1 Flyers attack because he knows he can't play or isn't going to play against Mutalisk versus Mutalisk because there's just no way Leenock can keep up.
Exactly.
Leenock is morphing Banelings on the third base here as well to try to pick off the hatchery. Will he be able to do it?
Transfuse went off. He needs to focus fire on that. Will the hatchery actually end up going down here? A few more Banelings picked off, and no, it will not. And oh my god, the control of Nerchio is so great. He lost so little from that attack.
Yeah, Leenock was looking for the drones there, couldn't find them, and unfortunately that didn't work out so well. And now the bounce back from Nerchio going towards the third base once again, realizing his opponent is stuck down. Infestors are popping out, but they do not have pathogen glands. They do not have enough energy for a fungal growth, and so this third base again from Leenock is going to be picked off.
Oh, this is looking so good for Nerchio at this stage. It really, really is, and some people wouldn't have predicted that, but what I've got to say is called it. Will Nerchio be able to overcome Leenock at this stage, though? Going up against those infestors is a little bit risky, but thankfully there were no fungals available, and he got out there just at the right time, having spotted the infestors and saying, oh, right, okay, don't want to make you anywhere near that then. Round of 14 drones coming off here, and Nerchio taking full map control and denying any chance of a third base.
Leenock is going to be able to shut down the Mutalisks if they get clumped up together.
Yes.
He can fungal and chain fungal, and with Banelings as well underneath the infestors, he will be able to pick off the Lings. The big problem is now that Nerchio knows this and knows that the only way he can lose is if that scenario happens.
Yeah.
So he's already tech switching over to Roaches. The Roach Warren is down here, and he's building a bunch of spines because he knows it's 2 base versus 3, potentially 4 very shortly. So all he has to do is defend against this inevitable push here. and he's getting well prepared to handle this.
I love the fact that Nerchio has an excessive number of queens and is using transfuse repeatedly. That is not something we see an awful lot of. He knows that that third base is low on health and is vulnerable to some kind of Baneling run by. You know, Speed Bane run by into that could take it out. Even if it's costly, that would allow his opponent to get back into the game. He's transfusing it repeatedly to make sure that doesn't happen.
I love that Nerchio has the Overseer with his army because he knows that Burrow Infestors is very strong against what he's doing and they could really surprise him. So he's keeping an Overseer around, just making sure that no Infestors try to go underneath him, and that's actually something that Leenock may try and get shut down incredibly hard for doing.
Well, the Mutalisk gets sacrificed for no apparent reason there by Leenock, and this Infestor count, though, is what's really, really dangerous. He misses a Fungal. Not a good start there for Leenock, and that was kind of the chance he was going to get, I think, and Nerchio has no intention of letting him repeat that.
And Leenock's going for this final push. He needs to do this or he won't be able to win this game.
Yep.
And Nerchio is now setting up defense. He has so many roaches, spines all over the place. And all Nerchio has to do is defend against this, and he will beat the GSL and MLG champion 2-0.
Spines. How many more spines would you like? And it looks like this attack is probably going to end before it even begins. More roaches coming out. Banelings coming out from Nerchio as well. The fourth base will most likely end up going down here. I have to wonder if will he even let it? No, it's definitely going to go down. He tries to bring the roaches in there to pick off some of the infestors. Mutalisk coming around the side as well. This is still an awkward engagement for Nerchio. One way or the other. That was a nice fungal there by Leenock. We've got the Banelings now moving in for Leenock as well to try and crush this army, but the infestor count has plummeted, and most of the Mutalisks actually remain alive. Oh, nicely done there by Nerchio. Under 80 supply is Leenock. Nerchio defends that absolutely perfectly.
And with added on roaches coming in, there's nothing Leenock can do, and GG is called, and Nerchio takes a 2-0 over Leenock.
I told you, man, you don't mess with Nerchio ZvZ. He scared pro players out of the matchup. Oh, that's how ridiculous he is at this matchup. And you can't even call it a build order win this time around. Yeah, the first game, sure, but that was just straight up outplayed.
Yep, and congratulations to Nerchio. It's a very big win, and that's going to set himself up very nicely to continue, and I hope he does continue on this steamroll within this group, as it will get more difficult, of course, with Alive left to play against Nestea as well. You know, it's going to be a fantastic group here for Nerchio, and he could be the only foreigner. Of course, we did see HasuObs lose 2-0, which is not really, not a good start. Surprising there, but at the same time, Nerchio could be the one.
He could be. He very well could be. I am so looking forward to Nerchio versus Nestea now, because they are both gods of ZvZ. That cannot fail to not be amazing.
Yes, this is going to be a fantastic series between these incredible players. I mean, you've got the GSL champion, and then you've got the up-and-comer here, Alive, who's been working on his game for a very long time, supported by Fnatic, of course, living in their pro house in Korea. Alive is just getting better and better as time goes on. Has had difficult times as well recently, but still is one of the most consistent Terran players out there.
Well, let's see how good he really is, because he's about to face the god of Zerg himself, Nestea, in our final matchup of this particular IronSquid show. So, chill out for a good 30 seconds or so, listen to a few words from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with Nestea versus Alive.